Crew 2 is a Frankenstein's monster of Ubisoft gaming, and I do not mean that in any way as a criticism. In fact, it's the hodgepodge of various elements that have been brought together for this sequel that are perhaps the best thing about it, and it's rather telling that within about 15 seconds of picking up the gamepad and having the new features explained to me, I was just creasing up in laughter at the sheer audacious brilliance of it all. In essence, the Crew 2 is the strange love child of the Crew and last year's winter sports bonanza Steep, where the first game had the ambition and scope to transplant a racing game into a scaled-down open-world approximation of the United States. So many things about that game didn't sit right with me, from the handling model to the overly serious story that was tacked onto it. Ubisoft saw all of this feedback, and so for the sequel they're embracing fun and boasting a huge amount of added variety, as we saw with Steep. At the heart of this is the ability to switch between land, sea and air vehicles, quite literally at any moment. So long as you've got the space to do so. And this is borrowing Steep's mechanic of switching from skis to snowboard and hang glider at the drop of a hat. So it doesn't matter if you're hurtling down a busy city road, bouncing on the waves as you head down a river, or gracefully arcing through the sky in a prop plane, you can just switch to another kind of vehicle. You're now suddenly a car that's plummeting to the ground, you're now fighting to gain altitude in a plane, and you're a boat that is just grinding along the road and losing whatever momentum that you'd built up to that point. It's that last example that had me laughing out loud. It's brilliantly freeing as you explore the game, and the same is true of the rewind feature in the Crew 2, which has also been adopted from Steep. At any point you can pull up the map and you now have a visual representation of your path through the game over the last 10 minutes, letting you see all the shifts between vehicles, the changes in height, and letting you rewind to spawn back at any point along that path. That was much more important for Steep so that you could very quickly return up the mountain and try a trick again, and it is admittedly less crucial in this game, where you can generally just turn around, drive back a few moments and try and hit the ramp again, for example. However, it is still a very, very nice tool to have in this game. The overarching world is actually the same between the Crew and its sequel, with the same shrunk down rendition of the United States of America that you can easily drive from coast to coast in a single city. However, Ivory Tower have reworked some of the city layouts, and this focus on the different types of vehicle has meant that they've had to rework the game engine itself to let you actually take to the skies and not have the game look rubbish. Dotted around the map are plenty of races and events to take part in, and just as before, you can reach a race and then invite your friends to join you for it. There's a clever little gated waiting area before each of these, as the game quickly switches you to the appropriate vehicle and your buddies load in before you can actually get down to the racing. This demo from Gamescom only focused on land-based events, with a dirt bike race, some drifting in a Mazda RX-7. I am still completely terrible at drifting in racing games, and that does not change in the Crew 2, I should say. And there's even a track race with an intriguing open-wheel prototype that Ubisoft have come up with themselves, and it has some ludicrously fat tyres that even 2017's Formula 1 cars would be jealous of. Perhaps my favourite thing about the events in this game is that crossing the finish line doesn't pull you out of the game and drop you to a waiting screen where you then sit for a few moments and wait for the remaining competitors to cross the line behind you. Instead, you remain completely in control and you can keep on driving. You can simply drive off into the sunset, and then you get your race results and your reward when you're maybe a mile or two down the road. It's not necessarily something that hasn't been done before. In fact, Burnout Paradise did something pretty similar, but it's all a part of the seamless game that the Crew 2 strives to be, and it really works in this instance. The first The Crew then, it was a strange game, as it tried to marry that racing game to the very stereotypical Ubisoft open world, and it wasn't a particularly happy marriage. The sequel, however, is a much better match, and borrows some of the best and most fitting ideas that the company have created in recent years, and in the process it shows just how far Ubisoft have evolved their open world game design for this generation of console. Thanks as ever for checking out our videos. Please do like, share and subscribe if you have enjoyed it, and we've also got tons of written content over on the sixaxis.com, where there's plenty more stuff that we've seen at Gamescom and we're working through bit by bit. So hopefully you will join us again either on YouTube or over on our website, and we will see you then. Goodbye!